Have you ever wondered why some people can rise from the ashes of their darkest days, smiling as if they hold an unshakable secret, while others crumble under a single misstep and surrender their dreams entirely? Why do certain souls transform every hardship into fuel for greatness, while others get trapped in endless blame and bitterness? Welcome to Success Lesson. Today, I want to share with you a truth so powerful it might flip everything you believe about what it takes to thrive. Because if you think life is just about luck, circumstances, or talent, what you're about to hear will shock you. And it could be the missing key to unlocking a life you never thought possible. Stay until the end, because this could change the way you see every obstacle you've ever faced. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Success Lesson right now. It's the best way to support us, and make sure we can keep bringing you deeper, more transformative content like this in the future. Gratitude isn't a feel-good slogan to slap over a painful reality. It's not a fake smile forced to impress the world. Gratitude is a profound, unyielding strength, a way of seeing through the darkest nights for the faintest glimmer of light. It's the ability to stand rooted when the storms of life rage around you, to look pain dead in the eye and whisper, "Thank you for the lesson." Because the truth is, life was never supposed to be easy, fair, or perfectly smooth. But it always offers a chance, if you know how to look for it. When you make gratitude your default response to adversity, you take back the power that fear, anger, and self-pity try to steal. It's like building an unbreakable shield inside your mind. Criticism no longer pierces your heart as easily. Mistakes don't spiral into self-destruction, and misunderstandings don't push you into emotional chaos. You stop waiting for the world to calm down before you can breathe. Instead, you find your own calm in the eye of any storm. And you start asking yourself the only question that really matters: what am I supposed to learn here? That one question creates a sacred pause between what happens to you and how you choose to react. It's a moment where you're no longer a puppet yanked around by emotion. You become the director of your own story. In that pause, you choose your words carefully, your tone thoughtfully, your actions consciously. And when you string enough of those moments together, your entire life shifts from a chaotic series of reactions to a deliberate journey of growth. True gratitude isn't about waiting for good days. It's not reserved for victories, praise, or moments of comfort. The deepest, most transformative gratitude is born in your worst days, the days when nothing goes right, when everyone doubts you, when you doubt yourself. Because those days offer the sharpest insights, the most brutal honesty, and the chance to uncover parts of yourself you didn't know existed. Those days give you the tools to build unshakable confidence and compassion for yourself and others. People often misunderstand gratitude as weakness or surrender. They think being grateful means you accept defeat or settle for less. But gratitude, in its purest form, is the fiercest act of courage you can practice. It's standing tall amid the chaos without demanding life bend to your comfort. It's daring to look for meaning even when your heart is heavy with disappointment. It's refusing to let your worth depend on circumstances outside your control. Because the truth is, the world will never align perfectly with your expectations. And if your happiness depends on perfection, you'll never find peace. So why does gratitude change everything? Because it rewires your mind to search for possibility instead of problems, to notice blessings instead of burdens, and to find lessons instead of lingering in anger. Over time, your default thought patterns shift from "why is this happening to me?" to "what can I do with this?" And that shift, subtle but profound, can be the difference between a life spent in quiet desperation and a life filled with purpose, even when storms come. Imagine facing every challenge, every heartbreak, every setback, with a quiet voice inside you saying, "Thank you for this opportunity to grow." How would that change the energy you bring into your work, your relationships, your dreams? How much more resilient would you become if you knew that every experience, no matter how painful, was another brick in the foundation of your greatest self? That's the true power of gratitude. It doesn't erase the pain, but it gives you eyes to see the hidden gifts pain leaves behind. And remember, gratitude isn't just for you. When you practice it deeply and authentically, it radiates outward. People around you feel safer, more inspired, and more open because your presence becomes a reminder that peace and strength can coexist. You start to become a beacon in a world addicted to negativity, a source of hope when others see only hopelessness. And there's nothing more powerful you can offer the world than a heart steadfast enough to keep loving, appreciating, and growing, no matter how imperfect everything seems. Now let's pause for a moment of reflection. When you encounter a big disappointment or failure, what is your first instinct? A. Blame your circumstances or other people, feeling like a victim. B. Ask yourself what this experience is trying to teach you. Comment your answer with A or B below. I can't wait to hear your perspective, and your thoughts might inspire someone else reading the comments too. Have you ever realized that the way you relate to time, your past, your present, and your future, can determine whether you live empowered or imprisoned by regret, anxiety, or fear? Most people drift through life shackled to yesterday's mistakes, distracted by today's chaos, or paralyzed by tomorrow's uncertainties. Yet, what if there was a way to turn all three dimensions of time into sources of strength and clarity? That's what mastering gratitude across your past, present, and future can do for you. It can reframe how you see everything that has happened, everything that is happening, and everything that will come. Your past is often the heaviest baggage you carry. It's full of memories, mistakes, failures, and wounds you'd rather forget. Many people spend their entire lives trying to outrun those ghosts. But gratitude for your past doesn't mean pretending those experiences were easy or pretending they didn't hurt. It means choosing to see them as the raw material of your growth. Every heartbreak, every rejection, every time you felt lost, they carved depths in your character that joy alone could never have reached. When you learn to thank your past, you stop fighting it, and you start mining it for the lessons, insights, and resilience it left behind. You realize that you're not broken by what happened, but built by it. Gratitude for your past transforms your personal history from a source of shame into a treasure trove of wisdom. Now, what about the present? The greatest tragedy of modern life is that most people are rarely truly present. They live on autopilot, rushing through routines, numbing themselves with distractions, or worrying about what's next. They wake up one day wondering where all the time went, why they feel empty, and why they've missed the magic woven into ordinary moments. Gratitude for the present is the antidote. It teaches you to pause, to breathe, to notice the subtle beauty you'd otherwise overlook. A stranger's smile, the warmth of sunlight, the comfort of a familiar voice. It teaches you that your life is not made of grand events, but of thousands of small moments that, when appreciated, become the foundation of lasting fulfillment. When you train yourself to look for what's good right now, you stop giving away today's peace for the illusion of control over tomorrow or the weight of yesterday's regrets. You reclaim your ability to choose joy, even when the day isn't perfect. You find the energy to persevere because you're grounded in what you have instead of obsessed with what you lack. Gratitude for the present doesn't mean ignoring challenges. It means facing them with a heart open enough to see opportunities where others only see obstacles. It means understanding that even on difficult days, there's something worth celebrating, something that reminds you life itself is a gift. But perhaps the most overlooked and transformative practice is gratitude for the future. People often associate the future with fear. What if I fail? What if I lose what I have? What if things don't go the way I hope? These questions breed anxiety and rob you of the courage to take risks, dream bigger, or adapt when life shifts unexpectedly. Yet gratitude for the future flips those fears upside down. It's the conscious choice to trust that whatever comes your way, you'll gain something valuable, a new skill, deeper wisdom, greater compassion. It's believing that uncertainty isn't your enemy, but your greatest ally in becoming someone wiser and stronger. When you feel gratitude for the future, you stop needing every plan to work out perfectly before you act. You become more flexible, more willing to try, and less discouraged when life changes course. You're able to hold your goals loosely, but your purpose firmly, knowing that detours might lead you to places better than anything you could have imagined. Gratitude for the future empowers you to walk forward with faith instead of fear, curiosity instead of control, and hope instead of despair. What unites gratitude for your past, present, and future is the profound sense of agency it gives you. It reminds you that you are not just a passenger in your story, but an active creator of its meaning. You can't change what happened, but you can change what it means. You can't stop challenges from arising, but you can choose your attitude when they do. You can't predict the future, but you can prepare your heart to meet it with grace. Most people think gratitude is about saying thank you when life gives them what they want. But real gratitude transcends circumstances. It's a way of living that recognizes value in every chapter of your life story, including the messy, uncertain, and unfinished parts. It's the choice to see every moment as a teacher, every obstacle as a stepping stone, and every twist in the road as part of a larger journey, shaping you into someone stronger and more compassionate. When you live with gratitude across all three dimensions of time, you no longer see your life as a series of disconnected events. You start to see a tapestry, a story with coherence, meaning, and depth. You begin to trust the process of growth, knowing you're not defined by your worst day or limited by your biggest fear. You learn to meet each day with a sense of purpose that doesn't depend on external validation, but on your own ability to find meaning in whatever comes your way. And that is the beginning of a life where you don't just survive the days, but truly live them. Have you ever wondered why some of the most captivating people you'll ever meet aren't the ones who seem flawless, but those who carry their imperfections with quiet confidence and openness? There's something magnetic about a person who doesn't hide their scars or pretend they've never stumbled. They radiate a grounded peace that makes you feel safe, a sense of realness that invites you to show up as your own imperfect self. That quality isn't an accident. It's the result of a powerful choice to appreciate what is incomplete, messy, or raw, both in themselves and in the world around them. Tracing back the secret to such presence, you'll find an unshakable gratitude for imperfection itself. Most people spend their lives desperate to cover up every flaw. They edit photos, polish resumes, rehearse conversations, and build walls of perfection to protect themselves from judgment. They believe perfection is the only currency that can buy acceptance, love, or success. But that pursuit traps them in a prison of endless inadequacy, because no matter how hard they try, they can never outrun their own humanity. The truth is, the fear of imperfection doesn't keep you safe, it keeps you small. And the antidote to that fear is learning to be grateful for the cracks in your armor, the very cracks that let light in. When you choose to appreciate what is unfinished, imperfect, or even broken within you, you give yourself permission to grow without self-hate. You start to understand that every flaw carries a story, every scar marks survival, and every mistake leaves a lesson etched deeper than any success could teach. Gratitude for your imperfections shifts your internal narrative from "I'm not good enough" to "I am in progress," and progress is beautiful. You stop judging yourself for not having it all figured out, and instead marvel at the resilience that has carried you this far. You begin to see that the parts of you that once felt unworthy of love are often the same parts that teach you the most compassion for others. This practice of honoring imperfection doesn't mean celebrating mediocrity or refusing to strive for better. It means accepting that greatness isn't born from never falling, but from learning how to rise again and again, each time with deeper insight. It means understanding that a perfect life is neither realistic nor fulfilling, and that striving to appear flawless only deepens loneliness. When you can look at your own missteps with gratitude, you break free from the need to impress or prove your worth. That freedom opens you up to deeper relationships, because you're no longer performing for acceptance. You're inviting connection through vulnerability. People who embrace their own imperfections are often the first to offer grace to others. When you've made peace with your own messy chapters, you stop expecting everyone else to have their lives perfectly ordered. You start seeing behind the masks people wear. You notice the hesitation in their voices, the flicker of insecurity in their eyes, and you're able to respond with empathy instead of judgment. This ability to hold space for others' imperfections is what makes relationships truly rich and enduring. Because it's not perfection that bonds people, it's the shared understanding that we're all works in progress, deserving of kindness. Gratitude for imperfection also changes how you navigate setbacks and failures. Instead of spiraling into self-loathing when plans collapse, you can pause, reflect, and appreciate the lesson hidden in the chaos. You begin to recognize that stumbling blocks are often disguised stepping stones, each challenge forcing you to develop patience, creativity, or resilience you wouldn't have discovered on an easy path. With this perspective, failure no longer becomes a dead end, but a redirection that often leads somewhere better than you imagined. This gratitude for what goes wrong turns the most frustrating days into the most formative. The practice of embracing imperfection is especially vital in a world obsessed with curated images and highlight reels. Social media constantly feeds us snapshots of seemingly perfect lives, making it easy to fall into the trap of comparison and self-doubt. But when you remind yourself to appreciate what's real instead of what's airbrushed, you protect your peace. You learn to celebrate your own messy process, rather than feeling inadequate because you don't measure up to someone else's edited moments. You give yourself the gift of authenticity, and in doing so, you inspire others to release their own perfectionist masks. Moreover, gratitude for imperfection makes life itself richer. Imagine savoring the crispy edges of a slightly burnt cookie, laughing about a friend's off-key singing, or treasuring the awkward pauses in a heartfelt conversation. These imperfect moments are the ones you remember most fondly because they're raw and real. They remind you that joy isn't found in sterile perfection, but in the vibrancy of unpolished, unrepeatable moments shared with people you love. At its core, being grateful for imperfection is a radical act of self-acceptance. It's the courage to look at yourself in the mirror, see the lines, the scars, the hesitations, and smile anyway. It's the humility to acknowledge what you don't know without feeling ashamed, and the openness to learn without needing to pretend you already have the answers. It's the quiet confidence that says, I am enough, even as I work to become more. When you build a life on the foundation of gratitude for imperfection, you liberate yourself from the impossible burden of getting everything right. You trade rigidity for resilience and anxiety for adaptability. You begin to flow with life's unpredictable rhythms, finding beauty even when things don't go according to plan. And perhaps most importantly, you find peace in the understanding that you are not loved for being flawless, but for being fully, unapologetically human. So take a moment now to think of something about yourself you've always tried to hide or fix. What if, instead of seeing it as a flaw, you saw it as part of the unique mosaic of your life, something that shaped your character, taught you empathy, or led you to someone who understands you? What if you chose to whisper a quiet thank you for that imperfection today? Because in that simple act, you reclaim your power, and you open the door to a life that is not just lived, but deeply, joyfully, and authentically experienced. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to talk about gratitude when life feels good, but how quickly that intention disappears the moment things get tough? Most people think gratitude is an emotion that comes and goes depending on what happens to them. But real gratitude is a skill, one that can be practiced, strengthened, and made so automatic that it becomes your lifeline in both triumph and tragedy. Building a habit of gratitude isn't about denying difficulties or forcing a smile. It's about creating a powerful reflex that helps you remain centered, hopeful, and open-hearted no matter what life throws your way. One of the most effective ways to cultivate this habit is by keeping a gratitude journal. This isn't about scribbling generic lines like, I'm grateful for my family every day. It's about training yourself to notice the specific, often overlooked blessings that make each day unique. Writing down 3 fresh, honest things you're grateful for each evening rewires your brain to search for good, even when stress or disappointment loom large. Over time, you begin to see patterns of abundance where you once only noticed what was missing. You discover how moments like a stranger's unexpected kindness or a quiet morning with your favorite book can soothe your spirit more deeply than the grand milestones you thought you needed to be happy. The real magic of this habit shows itself in your darkest days. When everything feels like it's falling apart, the discipline you've built through daily gratitude gives you a stable foundation. Instead of drowning in despair, you instinctively pause to search for even the smallest light, a friend who checks in, the resilience you didn't know you had, or the lesson hidden in your frustration. This shift doesn't make pain disappear, but it stops pain from controlling your entire perspective. It empowers you to face problems with clearer eyes, a steadier heart, and a mind ready to learn. But a true gratitude habit extends beyond private reflection. It must also transform how you engage with the people around you. Imagine what would happen if you made a conscious effort to express sincere thanks every day, not just when someone does something extraordinary, but even for the small ways they show up in your life. A simple, heartfelt thank you to a coworker who helps you meet a deadline, to a partner who listens when you're overwhelmed, or to yourself for persevering through a tough morning. These moments of recognition build bridges of trust and warmth. They remind everyone involved, including you, that kindness matters and connection is worth nurturing. Gratitude can also become a silent language spoken through your actions. Being fully present during conversations, putting your phone away when someone shares their struggles, or sending a quick note of appreciation can express gratitude more powerfully than words alone. These gestures show people that you value their time, presence, and efforts. And in a world where distraction has become the norm, such mindful attention is a rare and precious gift. By practicing gratitude in this way, you help create an environment where others feel seen and respected, inspiring them to extend the same care to those around them. Equally important is learning to anchor your gratitude in moments of adversity. Many people delay gratitude until life improves, believing they can only appreciate what they have when challenges disappear. But the strongest, most transformative gratitude happens precisely when things are uncertain or painful. It's in these moments, when you choose to notice what remains, what endures, and what you can still build upon, that your habit of gratitude becomes unbreakable. You learn to say, "This is hard, but I am grateful I'm still here to face it." Or, "I may not have everything I want, but I'm thankful for the strength to keep going." That is how gratitude shifts from a comforting idea into an active, resilient force that changes your reality. And while gratitude journaling and verbal expressions are powerful, the habit becomes truly life-changing when it expands into your daily mindset. Wake up each morning asking yourself, "What can I be grateful for today?" And go to bed reflecting on what made the day meaningful, even if it didn't go as planned. These bookends of gratitude give you a sense of purpose and stability, a reminder that every day contains moments worth honoring. Over time, this rhythm of noticing, recording, and expressing gratitude shapes your subconscious expectations, guiding you to seek possibility and beauty even in chaos. Finally, remember that gratitude practiced consistently creates a ripple effect. When you embody gratitude as a habit, you radiate a calm, encouraging presence that others can feel. You become a person who sees goodness in the world and reflects it back. Someone who uplifts conversations, diffuses conflict with empathy, and helps others remember what really matters. Gratitude, then, is not just something you do for yourself, but something that transforms the spaces you inhabit and the lives you touch. It's a habit that, once formed, becomes the compass guiding you and those around you toward a life of deeper peace, greater connection, and unwavering hope. Have you ever paused to realize that the most powerful shift you can make in your life doesn't start with changing your circumstances, but with changing how you see them? Your perception, the meaning you give to every moment, is the lens through which your entire reality is filtered. Yet most people live unaware of just how distorted that lens can become, clouded by old fears, limiting beliefs, and assumptions picked up from past wounds. Without recognizing it, they interpret every challenge as a personal attack, every mistake as proof they're inadequate, and every delay as a cosmic punishment. This is why transforming your mindset by changing your perspective isn't a luxury. It's a necessity if you want to move from surviving your days to truly living them. When you begin to see that your thoughts are not absolute truths, but interpretations, you reclaim your power over how life affects you. One person loses their job and believes it's the end of their self-worth, while another sees the same situation as a chance to find more fulfilling work. One person faces heartbreak and decides they will never love again, while another chooses to grow stronger, clearer, and more compassionate from the pain. The difference isn't luck or intelligence, it's perspective. Perspective shapes your choices, your energy, your resilience. It determines whether a setback is a signal to give up or an invitation to adapt. Gratitude plays an irreplaceable role in transforming perspective. When you practice gratitude deliberately, you force your mind to look beyond what's immediately painful or frustrating and find something worth valuing. This shift trains you to widen your perspective, to see not just the surface of problems, but also the possibilities hidden beneath them. It helps you ask better questions. Instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to wonder, "How could this be happening for me?" That single word, "for" instead of "to," can redefine every obstacle as an opportunity for growth. Consider how quickly small shifts in perspective can change your emotional reality. Traffic can go from an infuriating delay to a moment of unexpected solitude where you reflect or listen to a podcast that inspires you. A rejection can move from feeling like a brutal judgment to being the protection you needed from an opportunity that wasn't right for you. Even criticism can transform from a stinging attack to a mirror reflecting areas where you can evolve. Gratitude doesn't mean you deny the sting of disappointment, but it keeps you from being blinded by it. It helps you step back, observe, and decide what story you want to tell yourself about what just happened. Changing your perspective doesn't mean lying to yourself or pretending everything is good when it's not. It means recognizing that reality is always more complex than the narrow, reactive thoughts you have in the heat of a moment. It's learning to give yourself space to breathe before you respond, space to question whether your initial interpretation serves your growth or traps you in fear. Gratitude is what creates that space. It quiets the storm of panic long enough for you to see the bigger picture and choose a response aligned with who you want to be. One of the most powerful aspects of shifting perspective is how it changes your relationships. When you believe others are out to hurt or dismiss you, every word becomes a potential attack and every silence a threat. But when you allow gratitude to soften your perspective, you become curious instead of defensive. You start to wonder what someone else might be going through that causes them to act harshly. You begin to see moments of conflict not as proof that you or they are broken, but as opportunities to understand, communicate, and build trust. Gratitude for the lessons embedded in every interaction transforms your relationships from a minefield of misunderstandings into fertile ground for connection and empathy. Perspective also determines whether you spend your days caught in the grip of scarcity or liberated by the abundance that already exists around you. When you see only what you lack, you reinforce a story of helplessness. When you focus on what you have, however small, it reminds you of your resources, your strengths, and the possibilities within reach. Gratitude grounds you in this abundance, showing you that even on the hardest days, you have breath, choice, and the capacity to learn. It reminds you that you are never powerless because your response is always within your control. Choosing to shift your perspective through gratitude is an ongoing practice, not a one-time decision. It requires humility to admit that your first instinct might not always be the most helpful, and courage to consider other interpretations even when you're hurting. But every time you pause to reframe a situation with gratitude, you reinforce a mental habit that makes you more resilient, more compassionate, and more capable of turning adversity into advantage. As you grow in this practice, you will find that gratitude and perspective are partners dancing through every challenge you face. Together, they allow you to write new narratives, to live with purpose instead of reacting with fear, and to create a life where you don't just endure what comes your way, but engage with it in a way that shapes you into someone wiser, kinder, and unshakably hopeful. This is the quiet, profound power of choosing how you see the world, and the greatest gift you can give yourself and everyone you meet. At the heart of everything we've explored lies one undeniable truth. Gratitude is not just an occasional feeling or a polite word. It's a way of seeing the world that can transform every experience you have, past, present, or future, into a source of strength. When you choose to look back on your past with gratitude, you turn wounds into wisdom and mistakes into stepping stones. By bringing gratitude into your present, you start to notice life's quiet gifts, moments of connection, simple joys, and the resilience you display every single day. And when you greet the future with gratitude, you free yourself from fear of the unknown and open yourself up to endless possibilities. Gratitude doesn't mean denying pain or pretending life is perfect. It means recognizing that even in darkness, there are sparks of light waiting to guide you forward. As you build gratitude into your daily habits, writing in a journal, expressing thanks sincerely, pausing to notice what's good, you begin to change not just how you feel, but who you are. You develop an inner stability that hardship can't shake, a sense of purpose that's not tied to perfection, and a courage that grows stronger with every challenge you face. This perspective shift ripples into every area of your life, deepening relationships, reducing anxiety, and helping you make decisions rooted in hope instead of fear. Over time, gratitude becomes the lens through which you see every detail of your journey, transforming even the most mundane days into opportunities for growth and meaning. It reminds you that you are not powerless, and that your ability to choose your response is your greatest strength. The lesson here is simple, yet profound. Gratitude is the foundation of a resilient, purposeful life. By practicing it intentionally, especially when things don't go your way, you build the emotional muscles needed to navigate an unpredictable world with grace. Start by asking yourself each morning what you can be grateful for, and end each day reflecting on what taught you something valuable. When you do this consistently, you'll find yourself more present, less reactive, and more open to life's beauty, even in its imperfections. We invite you to join the Success Lesson community to gain more powerful insights like these that can help you grow into the person you want to be. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel right now. Your support helps us keep creating meaningful content to inspire and empower you on your journey.